Hey everybody, I'm here with two amazing ladies, Katja and Sandra, who are both Wim Hof instructors, and they have done some very exciting things in life, including climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in a very impressive time. So I'm going to welcome you both here. Thank you for joining me on Power Movers, and I'm looking forward to digging in a little bit and seeing some more of your stories. So, Katja, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you come from? What were you doing beforehand? And just tell us a little bit about your story.
Hi, thank you for having us. Yeah, I'm Katja. I'm from Germany. And what have I been doing? I've been a teacher for 15 years. I teach English and sports, PE, and secondary school. And the usual story in a way.
Yeah, that's quite a scary job these days, isn't it? Being a teacher.
Not so much scary, but
Yeah. In the UK, it's scary. I see the kids walking around here, and that's not a job that I'd want to have.
They're okay. I like the kids.
Yeah,
Kids are good. They're okay.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And Sandra, what about yourself? You were in a totally different world, weren't you?
Yeah, I don't work with kids, but I have kids. I live in Sweden, and my main work, what I do right now, is teaching yoga and at the same time doing Wim Hof Method workshops and retreats. So that's what I do now, and the past years as well.
Yeah. But before that, you were in finance, were you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I studied studied for a master degree in business administration and economics. I studied for 4 years in university. Unfortunately, I only worked for 2 years, but I'm happy for that. But now I teach actually corporate yoga. So what I do is giving yoga and to offices and corporates. That's the world where I come from.
Yeah, something that's close to my own heart. Living in the corporate world for so long, like I did, it was just so obvious to me that there's not enough stress relief. There's not enough respecting our own bodies, respecting our own time. And so, yeah, that's something that must go down very well with the corporates. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm happy to give what I felt was missing when I worked in the office many hours before.
Cool. So you guys have got some interesting parts of your later journey. Katja, how did you get into the Wim Hof method? What were the things you've done? You've had some stress in the past. You've had injuries that were plaguing you. Tell us a little of that story.
Yeah, it's true. I've always been into sports all my life as a kid, and later on I studied sports and everything. But I was often really lacking in energy, was often injured, often had really serious back pain. Sometimes I couldn't move for days. And then I always say the universe at some point was kind to me in the form of a British lady. She was a teacher of mine when I did the teacher training on Malta. And she introduced Freeze the Fear to me. She implemented this show with Wim, and I watched it, and it instantaneously hooked me totally, fascinated me from the first moment on. And I felt like, oh my goodness, I wish they had casted me for this show. From that moment, I stopped taking warm showers, and I did the bungee jump a couple of months later, and read everything on the Wim Hof method. And it was so, I always use this phrase, it was so transformative for me. I really found so much energy and so much strength, and this was so beautiful. Huge game.
I actually did my level 1 when Wim was filming the program, so he wasn't able to be there because he was busy filming the program. And yeah, it really was good for the Wim Hof method, and good to get the rest of the world to see what's possible, huh? Yeah. Sandra, what's your journey into?
It started, let's say, by accident. It was in 2017 when I did my first yoga teacher training in Costa Rica. Then my yoga teacher, she always ended the yoga classes with 4 rounds of the Wim Hof Method breathing. So I was there for 3 weeks, and imagine doing 4 rounds of the Wim Hof Method breathing every day. I got high on my own supply, and that was my favorite pranayama breathing technique. So I took that with me when I came back home to Sweden. But then life goes on and you don't keep on doing your practices. And I got a partner and 2 kids. And unfortunately, the partnership did not work out good. And I had to leave the partnership, the father of our 2 kids. And it was actually more than an escape than leaving the father of the 2 kids. So I had to think of what are the most powerful tools that I have in my luggage that I can pick up. And it was the Wim Hof Method breathing. And then I went into the Wim Hof Method website. I took the 10-day free course, started with the cold showers and the breathing. And I got so much stronger than I ever was before. And I said to myself, I want to teach this to all the people I get in contact with. And therefore, I became an instructor. And this is my passion.
There's this power to breathwork that I was 48 years old when I learned how powerful breathwork is. And we have 5 weeks. If we don't eat for 5 weeks, we die. And if we don't drink water for 5 days, we die. And we know how to do those. We know what we should drink and how we should drink and what we should eat. But if we don't breathe for 5 minutes, we die, right? And we never, ever get taught how to breathe properly. And when I first did that, I was just like, wow, what is this, right? What was your first experience of breathing, Katja? Obviously, we know it's Sandra's.
Yeah, it was on a workshop then. I tried it a bit on my own then. I told you that I would read everything and take cold showers and everything. And so that was just beautiful the way you describe it, mind-blowing. Okay, what's happening? But actually, now that you were referring to breathwork, just an hour before, I sat next to my 2 colleagues, and they were both sneezing and complaining, oh, my allergy, my hay fever is so heavy at the moment. I can't stand it anymore. And I didn't say anything. And then they were like, oh, what about you? And I said, honestly, I suffered from hay fever really much. And it had gone all the way or totally. And this season it came back. And first I didn't realize it really, but then it got stronger and stronger. And then I knew what I have to do, right? So in the mornings, first thing, I did my breathing, took my cold shower, and it's gone. Within 3 days again, everything gone. And this is so amazing. So the power is the breath is so powerful. And this fascinates me beyond limits, and that's what I love to share. Just witnessing them and seeing how they suffer from the hay fever, they told me I really have something to offer here with the breathwork.
And it is that you take it to people, and I love going to a workshop and then you finish the 3 rounds of breathing and the faces. It's just I love the face. So
I also always say, oh, there is this particular smile when they, like a little child, wow, what was that? The eyes are smiling. There's this very specific smile in the face. I love that.
But you hit on a very valid point there, right? We have, and both of you have spoken about the tools that you have. We have a toolbox, and we build up our toolbox, and we build up our knowledge, right? And the one pillar is commitment, right? The one pillar of the Wim Hof Method is commitment. And that's the most difficult one for everybody to get. And I think as Wim Hof instructors, we suffer from this probably as much as everybody else. You're always teaching people to do it, but that means you don't get as much chance to do it. And I have to do my breath work every morning. I have to do my cold exposure. I have to do my meditation as well. And now I'm adding exercise into that. And it's just, for me, a way that I can have 10, 15, 20% better energy, focus, clarity in the day. And if you can do that every day, if you can have 20% better energy, focus, and clarity every day, your whole week just gets so better and your whole life gets so better, right? Things don't faze you anymore, right? Things just don't faze you. So now, yeah, let's talk about you. You guys have done some crazy stuff, right? You guys done some crazy stuff. What made you climb a mountain? What made you climb Kilimanjaro? I know you did it for charity, and we can speak a bit about that. But just talk us through that journey. You both instructors now. You've been doing a few things. A bunch of you crazy instructor ladies got together. Tell us what happened. Tell us how we got there. Katja?
Sandra, would you like to begin?
Either or.
Started?
Come on, Sandra, off you go.
For me personally, it started when I actually was in my level 1 instructor training, and then I heard Bart Prunk telling a story of him climbing Kilimanjaro, and he was standing there in cold -degrees and waiting for someone to bring the keys for 5 minutes. And these 5 minutes for him was like a very long time. And his story inspired me. And me sitting there, becoming an instructor, I told myself in my mind, one day I would like to climb the mountain and feel the suffer and feel the pain and be able to cope with that and come out from that stronger. So that seed, it stuck into my mind for many years until one day, one of the instructors, female instructor, she wrote a message in the women WhatsApp group. It was Letty, and she was coming up with an idea. Hey, how about climbing Kilimanjaro soon? Let's try to gather a group. And I was one of the first instructors that said yes. Didn't know the time, didn't know about the financial part and who to take care of my kids, but I was fully in. And there the journey started. What do you say, Katja?
Yeah. I didn't read the message straight away. They had already agreed on the date when I got to learn about it. But when I read it, I will never forget. I ran out of the house. My husband was in the garden. I ran to him. I told him, that's what's going on here. I want to be part of this. And he was like, okay, do it. I'm in. So I texted straight away, I'm in this group. At the time that they had agreed on was not good for me at all. It was not during the school holidays. Next Monday, I would go to my boss straight away, explain the situation. And I really felt that's the adventure, together with women, with female instructors who have the same vision, the same energy, coming from all over the world. I didn't know any of the girls. I love that idea. And I began training straight away. And it was just beautiful.
Yeah, us men, we go and sit at the bar and we have a beer and we come up with a crazy idea. You guys don't need to go to the bar and have a beer. Yeah. And then next day we wake up and it's like, what did we just decide to do? Yeah, just the message. And I love that about the community, the Wim Hof communities. Everybody's up for everything. Yeah, there's just so many amazing people we meet through this journey. So you decided you're going to go and do this. How long did you have to prepare? Just tell us about Kilimanjaro. Tell us what the challenges are. I realize it's 20,000 feet, something like that. Yeah. Tell us what normal people do. Yeah. Not Wim Hof people do. Yeah. Just give us the normal way it's approached. Katja?
Yeah. Normally you would prepare from 6 months to a year, approximately. The people that I have spoken to so far rather prepare for a year or something. And it's typical to take 5 to 8 days to climb the mountain because it's not safe normally to gain more than 400 meters of altitude in a day. You should avoid that. So normally you go from base camp to acclimatize before you move on. Right. That's not what we had in mind. So our goal from the beginning was to do it in 48 hours or less. And
wow.
Yeah.
2 days instead of 8, right? Wow.
So you can do it faster. And it was really about why. Okay. Of course, Wim inspired us to do is he put this idea in our head, definitely. And it was really also about, I can say for my part, I like the idea of women doing it. And in my experience, when I think of my workshops and the participants, it's so often that I hear women who have such limiting beliefs of, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm here, I'm interested, but I don't think I'll do the ice bath. I can't do this. Things like that. And now it's almost painful whenever I hear this. So a part of me wanted to really show girls we are capable of so much more. And also really, it's from the first moment on, for me, the whole theory also behind the breathing was really fascinating. The fact that you can lie there and do altitude training and really become fit by breathing was mind-blowing. After all the years that I've been training to run a marathon and whatever, I know what it means to work out, and then to realize what with the breath you can achieve so much. And it was really to show in a workshop, we don't sell anything. We don't pretend, we don't tell you something that's not true. But yes, you can become fit by being dedicated, committed, doing the breath work very regularly. And then you can achieve something that is in theory not possible, and show, yes, it is, right?
And we show, right? We show in the workshop. We bring people in and we show. Yeah, in a half a day workshop, people's minds are so often so blown, aren't they?
Yeah. But what I mean is, they feel a lot. They're amazed by what they can feel in their body. But when we explain to them the science behind the breath work, the fact that you really have EPO in your blood, and this results in more red blood cells, and you really simulate high altitude training and everything. That's nothing that they can really see, relate to, and maybe have a problem to believe you even. It's so amazing, right?
Yeah.
Then really to show, and as Wim always says, what I can do, anyone can do. And I think that was, for me, this was really part of the challenge and the message that I wanted to bring across. Hey, look where I came from. I was not all these years. And now I've climbed Kilimanjaro in 46 hours. So everything is possible. It's not just...
You're giving it all away.
Spoiler! Sorry, we made it.
But Sandra, come on. What was what really inspired you to go through this journey, and what were your feelings along the way?
Yeah, it's a good question. For my first inspiration, it was in my level 1, like that seed. And for me, it was not on my, let's say, on my list to the top list. But when Letty wrote that message, then for me, it was, this is the moment, because I wouldn't like to climb Kilimanjaro in a regular, normal way, the 6-7 days. I wanted to have a challenge, and I wanted to try the Wim Hof Method breathing and see that it really works. So more or less, I wanted to push my boundaries and my limits. So for me, it was fully, and that was my inspiration, and also to do it as a group and see how the group also changed in the matter of size. So first we were more than 20 people that wanted to go, and then it shrank to 5 people. And then we didn't know, are we going to go or are we not? Because personally for me, I purchased the ticket. I purchased a ticket to my kids as well, because I ended the Kilimanjaro trip with a safari with my 2 kids and my mom. So it cost me a fortune. So in the end, I told myself, if the women are not going to go, I'm going to climb that mountain myself. But what I took out from the whole journey for me, it was, I'm very happy that I didn't go myself and do it alone. The biggest eye-opener and game changer for me, and what I took out from the whole journey and the challenge, it was the group connection that we created together, and that we did it together. And it is 4th pillar of the Wim Hof Method. And that I did not expect. and that was so much spiritual. And
Mm.
it's also when participants usually come to my workshops or the retreats, people go there for the breathing or the ice bath, but what they say usually that they left with so much more, the experience, the connection, and yeah, the bond, that the magic
Yeah.
around the method.
That's amazing. So, no, I mean, that's for me as well. Excuse me. The community is strong and it keeps on growing. And yeah, the woman said the tribe keeps growing. So, if you're now taking me just a little bit through that actual 48 hours, what was that 48 hours? What were you thinking when you got there? You got off the plane, you got in the bus or whatever it was, and just walk us through that, Katja.
I arrived the evening before, and I will always be grateful to Sandra because she really insisted on the evening before that we would come together and do a breathing round together, and we celebrated like a ritual. And now in hindsight, I really have to say this was the moment when we really clicked, when we really connected. And I think this was the moment where the seed was laid for us to really succeed as a group.
Mhm.
And yeah, fourth pillar, big time that evening. And then, yeah, we went to bed, and I will never forget, Sandra was in my room and Letty the morning at 5 or 6. The alarm clock went off and I jumped out of the bed and screamed, "It's hiking day." So we're really excited, finally, after the months of preparation. And now that we finally arrived in Tanzania and everything, it was the day of the day. But people in Tanzania are relaxed, bole, they would always say, step by step. So it took us quite a time till we finally made it to the mountain, to the foot of the mountain. And I think we left at 10 at the gate. Is that right? Something like that. So we set the timer and we were off through the gate. And it's beautiful. The first 1,000 meters of altitude, it's a beautiful jungle. We saw monkeys and it was hot and everything. Just, yeah, we were elated to be finally on our path, on our journey. And so from there, we left at 1,700 meters of altitude and walked straight to 3,700, where we rested. We stayed.
How long was that? How long did it take you to get to those milestones?
We arrived in the early evening, around 5, 6 p.m., something like that.
Yeah.
Had a little celebration and some dinner and, yeah, rested. I never slept on that mountain. I was the one, that's quite common, that people say they can't sleep in high altitude. Others were snoring, they were good, not for me. Anyway, yeah, then in the morning, very early morning, we had some breakfast and we were off again to Kibo Hut, which is at 4,700 meters. Again, we arrived in the early evening there and rested for some hours, 6 hours, if I remember correctly.
And during this time, you're just doing the breath work and you're kind of, you're really focused on that.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of focus. And again, it was a different experience for each of us. Everybody is different. That was quite interesting. Yeah, we would always have our oximeters, would always check our oxygen saturation, would take short breaks to do the breathing to make sure we're okay. We checked on each other and walked, together up there.
Cool. And Sandra, you're going through the same journey. Yeah, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, it's still the same journey, but we have different experiences.
Yeah,
I'm sure, right? Yeah.
It's interesting now when I hear Katja speak, and just from the beginning, the ritual that Katja mentioned and the breath work. And I remembered I was really stubborn to trying to gather all of us because a lot of things happened, a lot of challenges before our attempt to climb. Some people's luggages, they did not arrive. Some people's, one of the instructors' flight, it got delayed. And it was really hard to gather all of us. which was my mission the day before. But I managed. And as Katja said, for me, it was like, I think it was really of essence and vital for us to bond the Wim Hof Method breathing and to do it together before this big challenge. But it was harder than I thought it would be, like just a breathing session. And it was beautiful. And we cried, we laughed. I think all of us cried after that breathing session. And the day after, when we woke up, we were like, oh, we have been waiting so much for this day, and we have been practicing a lot. And I remember when the alarm rang, Katja were like screaming from her bed, yes, this is the hiking day. Imagine so much work we all put like in the effort for the practice that we did and everything mentally, and now this is it. So yeah, and as Katja mentioned, the Tanzanian people, they're very, very chill, which makes it easier, but also we wanted to go and we wanted to hurry. We said 9, we wanted to start 9, but then we started at 10 o'clock, which was good enough. And we had a nice, let's say, hike or walk with the jungle, the forest, and we started to breathe consciously. We all had different breathing patterns, and some of us, we maybe did a lot of breathing, other of us not. Some of us breathe through their mouth and nose. So it's all different. Me, myself, I started from the start to breathe deep conscious breathing through my mouth to just to get used to it and to remember that, okay, it's the breath. And then we arrived at 3,700 meter at Horombo Hut. Yeah, we had dinner, we rested, and as Katja said, it was very hard to sleep. We had to wake up every hour, every 2 hours to do the Wim Hof Method breathing, laying in bed and just breathe. Some people were snoring, sleeping, others were breathing. So we just did our own thing. And then the morning after.
Take us up that last little section, going up to the summit, and what is that like? Just give us that emotion you felt. Yeah. Was it hard? Yeah.
To go up to the summit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hardest part was, so when we arrived at Kibo Hut, 4,700 meters, that was the last camp. And there, everything completely changed. And that's where most of the guides tell, this is either you will go further up, or this is the moment when you will change your mind. And we had to, so there I more focused on my breathing, and I remember I started to feel a little bit of headache, but my mindset was still the same. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And the biggest challenge was from Kibo Hut, 4,700 meters up to the summit. And let me tell you like this, there it's like, I can compare it to giving birth. It's like nothing than you. It's like your steps, the connection with the group, you know, everything that is happening, but every word that you say, it's going to take energy from you. So you are really conscious of how to breathe, how to use your step and not to like step wrong. So it's like 100% awareness. And that's where you go beyond your mind, like you're one with everything. And for me, it was a spiritual experience. You go beyond the pain because it's physical, challenging. We started from 11 in the evening and we reached 8 in the morning, and it was freezing cold. It was physical, challenging, very steep, but we made it.
And the top elevation in meters? What's the top height? The top height in meters, how high was it?
5,895.
Wow, it's amazing. Huh? That's amazing. And so then you turn around, and Katja, I've heard, I've not climbed a challenging mountain like that, but I've heard that the coming back is sometimes even more challenging.
Yes, yes, it is, because you want to reach that summit, right? And then you need to go all the way back. And before, there was the plan that we could take a shortcut back down, but we did not get the permission to do so. So we had to walk all the way back to 3,700. So we walked again till the evening, all the way down. That was really tough. That was beyond. This was also the only moment where I really asked, I need a rest. At 4-7 at Kibohat, I told the guides, okay, I haven't slept at all. Since I've gone on this journey, I need an hour in a bed just so I can close my eyes. And they didn't want us to stay there. They said they want to get us out of the altitude, right? But they saw how important it was to me, and I will never forget. My eyes were painful. The moment that I was allowed to close them, I really felt my face was painful from the lack of sleep and anything. But it was okay. And I think it's time that Sandra tells a very funny story about how desperate we were. We should really make sure everyone hears that. But in the end, again, a little spoiler, we were really glad that we had to do it, because that was also part of the whole thing. And again, something where we could show, yeah, we can manage. We were good, and we did it together again. And so we were quite desperate, and especially Sandra. So she came up with a brilliant idea. So she thought.
Yeah, but tell us.
First, just want to mention that my mindset was up to the summit, but then it's like the goal. Once you reach the goal, then you feel like the energy, it's like you put all your energy to the summit. And when we heard that we have to walk all the way back to Harambohat, which is 3,700 meters, it's far more beyond that what we thought that we would do. And when we reached the first camp, 4,700 meters, we were all destroyed. And I told the instructor, let's take a helicopter. Like, I remembered it. I was sleeping in bed, and they all came, and I was so tired, and I heard that we had to walk more, like further to the next camp. And I remember I went up from the bed, like very tired, and I was like, I had a very good idea. Let's take the helicopter. And everybody just looked at me like, we thought your idea, because I had to shut everybody down, listen. And they were like, but it's so expensive. And I was like, yeah, but no, if we all share, like we are so many, and if we would split that cost, it's a really good idea. And they didn't like the idea. So I was like, I cannot go anywhere by myself. So I had to join and go back to the next camp. But I remember one thing that Katja said while we were walking, because that moment I felt my legs were just walking, but I had no sensations. And Katja was telling me, listen, Sandra, if they would tell us that we had no choice, that we have to go up to this mountain again, to the summit, we would have done it. That's the power of the mind. And that I will not forget, because it was the hardest part, was to go back and to go down again. So it is literally the power of the mind. If they would tell us you have to go back again, up and then down, up again and then down, our feet and our legs would just keep on moving, keep on going, because we can do more than we think we can. So thank you, Katja, for this.
You guys have done it. You guys have done it. You've proved, in so much in life, we have to prove to ourselves, right? We have to prove our power to ourselves. And we have all these self-limiting beliefs that are heaped on us throughout our whole life. And we build up these walls of I can'ts. And that's what I love about the method, is you can knock those walls down in one simple ice bath, because you get in and you just know there's no ways I'm doing this. And then when you realize, you can start knocking down those I can'ts and build up your own I cans. Yeah, and that's just amazing.
Same for me.
So
Yeah.
if you've
Quite a
come
lot.
down, you came out of the out of Tanzania, you come back to real life, and how was that? How was that? How was real life afterwards?
No one cared.
Yeah.
Sandra, what about you?
For me, it was lovely to see my two kids waiting at the airport and then doing safari and ending with Zanzibar. For me, that trip was the best I've ever made. I've traveled a lot, but combining the adventure with 9 amazing instructors climbing Kilimanjaro and then meeting up my kids, going into the wildlife, nature, and animals, safari, and then ending it with Paradise Beach. It was the perfect combination. But then coming back to Sweden, I had another upcoming retreat in north of Sweden, so I had a lot of things like ongoing. But as Katja said, no, like no one. It was like for us. And one
Yeah.
thing I remember, I did not do Wim Hof Method breathing for 1 month after that. Like I felt I breathed enough in the mountain. So 1 month I did not do any Wim Hof Method breathing at home.
Yeah. There's so many other things you've done. I hear something about a 2-hour plank. What was that all about? Just tell us about that challenge quickly, because you guys are. I think there's more crazy things to come. Tell
Yeah.
us about the 2-hour plank, Katja.
Yeah, that's
We
Katja's
we work.
idea.
Yeah, we work together quite often on Zoom, and both ladies join us on the AI community. And quite often, Katja will just be on a plank on the call and just staying there for ages. So, what was that crazy idea?
It was really jokingly, I said, when we came back, no one cared, which is not true, obviously. But what really stuck was the way I felt. I was just very proud of myself, and I felt good in my body, and I felt good in this group. And we wanted to keep this connection, and we wanted to keep the trajectory a little bit of what had happened to us on that mountain individually, but also as a group. So we came up with the idea that, first of all, we want to keep on doing challenges like this annually, and also to do challenges to keep fit and keep connected in between. So the first thing that we started was planking together. And I had started planking a little bit before, initiated also by a friend. And I realized how good it was for my posture. And then walking was my walking, posture and style technique was much better. I didn't have problems wearing my rucksack, which used to bother me a lot before. And so to make a long story short, we started meeting on Mondays, 8 p.m. on Zoom with the group of The Mountain Is Us, we call it us. And also we invited others and started planking. I don't know, we started with with a minute, and then the next week too, would ask everyone practice throughout the week and make up your mind as to what you want to achieve the next Monday, and let's do it together. Just meet and see how we can grow together. That was the whole idea. Let's connect and grow. And on the 17th of March, we just ended this challenge. We had always, without fail, met on Mondays ever since, planked together, grew together, really bonded, and we did the 2-hour plank, which was, again,
Amazing. It really is amazing.
It's all about the mindset. It's all about the 4th pillar, connecting and setting your mind, going on a journey together and see what happens. And it's always magical what happens.
So you guys are both business owners, you're business people, you're striving to help people, you have missions to bring the pleasure that you found and the power that you found in life to other people. So I will put your contact details below this podcast when I put it up. But Katja, where can people get hold of you? And what's next in your journey?
Yeah, you can find me on my website, and of course on the Wim Hof Method website. My name is Katja Hasfeld. And my next journey and my next projects with this beautiful lady here on the screen. I'm planning a retreat in Austria. Very excited about taking people into nature and really connect deep and dive deep into this beautiful method and connect to nature together. And also I've planned a retreat with beautiful guys in Norway, a retreat in Poland. I do my workshops, I do breathing classes. I basically do anything with anybody who is interested in evolving, into growing, into seeing
Amazing.
what is there, in
Great,
themselves.
great. Well, thank you very much for joining me. And Sandra, how about yourself? How can people get a hold of you? And obviously, you're joining up on a joint venture. Yeah, I would suggest everybody gets onto that because it's going to be amazing. So, what about yourself? Where can people get hold of you? And yeah, what's up next?
So if you are interested to come to a yoga class or corporate yoga in a physical way, then it's the south of Sweden, Malmö. But of course, I also do corporate yoga virtually. And I'm going to do this amazing Austria retreat with beautiful Katja in end of June. So it's going to be amazing in the Austrian Alps, where we find it as a perfect match together to do the hiking, combining hiking with the Wim Hof Method. So 5 days in nature, and I'm really looking forward to that. And except from that, I host winter retreat north of Sweden. And yeah, just connect to the Wim Hof Method website. You'll find me there, Sandra Abdul Karim, or my corporate website, Office Yoga Malmö.
Thank you very much for joining me, ladies. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. You are very inspiring.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Thank you.